Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending Empowering Your Blackbaud CRM with Low-Code Solutions. My name is Scott Parrish. I am a solution architect with Blackbaud based in Denver, Colorado. And my work colleague, Becky Kimball, will be presenting this session. We encourage you guys to use the chat, and we'll do our best to get through all the questions and answers. We want this session to be interactive. And just as a reminder, you will get an email with a link to this recording as well. With that being said, I'll pass it to you, Becky.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Scott. Looking forward to going through some low-code options. Let me get back and share so it's not just me. Just confirming that everyone can hear me. I know I'm looking at some familiar names in the people section, so excited to be here. Yay! Thank you, Jessica. I'm going to flip through this pretty quickly, but my name is Becky Kimball. I've been with Blackbaud for over 13 years. I was a Razor's Edge consultant and trainer, and then I left Blackbaud and worked at Children's Hospital Colorado here in Denver, where I had the opportunity to lead their migration from Razor's Edge to Blackbaud CRM. And in that time, now I'm back at Blackbaud. I was a customer success manager. In my current role, I'm a solution architect. So I work with prospects of Blackbaud CRM and then current customers like yourselves, customers who are using Blackbaud CRM. And I consider myself a very low code developer. By that, I tend not to read the instructions. I don't know SQL. So if you're looking for anything really high, like, yes, this is going to be total code and in SQL, that is not me. We are talking about how you can change, update CRM within Blackbaud CRM as an end user who has admin rights to change and design the system. So like any good session presenter in today's day and age, when asked to present at bbdevdays, I decided that Copilot should write my session description for me. And wow, does it sound like a great session. But today we'll focus on the key areas of Page Designer or called Design Mode in Blackbaud CRM. There's other sessions, I'll cover that at the end if we have time, that you can get more information on connecting APIs, more workflows, and some of those third-party integrations. But for today, we'll stay focused on Page Designer with two examples. So a workflow for employers and then a workflow for committee lists. Just a quick, if anyone's willing to put into chat, has anyone on the call created something in Page Designer before? Yep, there's very loosely. Yes, seeing some yeses. I was reminded recently of, as I was preparing for this session, of how powerful a tool it is. It's something, as someone who becomes more of an admin user, you really start to just work with CRM. So you don't think necessarily, did that take me 2 clicks? Was it 4 clicks? One of the things that I've found in working with a lot of customers is how we can actually think about workflows for end users. I never promise them that life is going to be easier for everybody when we change or update a process. But in these examples, I think we can make things a little bit easier for them. So how this session came about is a former colleague of mine had created in another environment for Blackbaud CRM an employer list. And I really wanted to figure out how she created this list. It was really cool. So instead of reading any directions or reminding myself how to create anything in Page Designer, I just sat and looked at the code that she created, or not code, in what she created within Page Designer. So we're going to review how I took those learnings and then be able to bring them back to create a committee list. So in this example, we have an employer list. It's hyperlinked so you can get to the different organization constituent records. And it's just based on a data list with some filters. This is a more advanced employer list because it actually has a hyperlink to, it's a little hard to see, but a hyperlink to the number of constituent employees. So there's ways that this can become next level. I'm just going to go through the kind of the freshman year level of creating a simple list with some hyperlinks and tasks. So this was the original example. And what I did in order to figure out how did Kelly create this is I went through and looked at within Page Designer, and this might look, for users that are familiar, you're like, yes, Becky, I know this button. For those of you that aren't, up top, this might look a little bit different. My environment is Blackbaud Cloud Operations. Your square with a pencil might look a little bit different, but that's the button you're looking to click. And what that does, that unlocks how the page is actually designed. So from there, I was able to just replicate what was created in another environment. Now there's ways through code, there's more advanced ways that I could probably bring that over, but I wanted to learn how to do it and go through those steps. So the next use case I came up with is thinking about committees and how committees are really a differentiator with Blackbaud CRM from Razor's Edge and other products in the market, in that it allows for these group and committee records to be linked together. But instead of just searching for committees or having a query, this is a way that for end users, you can put out a list that they can interact with and do different tasks, and then be able to use that list. And the next thing that I need to do with this list is I'm going to have a hyperlink to members, but we'll start simple with a committee list. So this is the end product of what I created, and we're going to walk through the instructions. This presentation will be shared. I can send the slides, becky.kimball@blackbaud.com. Happy to provide these. And if I missed any steps along the way where you're like, Becky, there's something missing, I'm happy to fill those in for you. But with the committee list, I was able to get the picture that's on the committee record and then get a nice summary. And one of the things I noticed is that the description wasn't filled in for a lot of these committees. And if I was going to put this out there and show this to prospects, that I wanted to make sure those descriptions were filled in. So I added a task to actually edit the description and make it easy, rather than clicking on the constituent record and then hitting edit description, putting it right there in front of people to update and edit and keep those descriptions updated. So the steps to walk through this and create this on your own, and these are my steps. There's other ways, there's other paths to this, but the first thing that I did is created a query. And I actually didn't, I've never created a committee query until last night. Typically I would create queries off of a constituent query, but I knew for this, when I was creating the list, I wanted to be able to access those committee data forms. So I wanted to see if there was a committee query type, and there is. So I picked a committee query type, and because I wanted all, I didn't include records or adjust my initial filter. I just chose fields to display. And if you're new, if you're experienced, you're like, oh, I've learned this lesson before. But if you're new to this, you'll want to make sure that you rename your column headers to meaningful names. Those will be important throughout our next steps as we're creating the different tasks within Page Designer. So I have my 4 fields that I wanted to include. And then when you're in a query, at the bottom bar, you can create a data list. And within the data list, you're selecting what fields, some fields you need. So in this case, system record ID, key field. That's how information is going to pull. It's going to pull from the committee. That's the GUID, and ensuring that we have that. But I don't want my end users to see that. So I'm hiding that. And that button to create a data list allows me to see this and use this list, not just in query, but in other places within CRM. So this is just illustrating output types can be visible or hidden. I've hidden the system record ID. And then for the committee list, again, those names that I'm selecting in my query will become important down the road as I'm creating and using my data list throughout Blackbaud CRM. I'm pausing, Scott. I don't see any questions in chat. I know you're off stage, but let me know if anything comes up or if anyone needs me to slow down or go faster. But for the data list, the filters up top. So if I want people to be able to sort by different committee types, we might have subcommittees, we might have some, I worked in healthcare, there's sometimes subcommittees, board-related committees. So I added a filter. And by checking the box for filter in our data list, what that does is it allows us to have that filter and that end users can see and filter on those pieces of information once the data list is available on a page or a tab within CRM. The next step takes us a little bit more in unfamiliar territory, or if it's been a while, as a review. In my mind, I kept wanting to go to features to look for how to create pages and tabs. But remember, it's the shell. So you under administration, application, and shell design, you can see, or you can look with the nice new feature where there's the magnifying glass, and I just typed in shell, and that took me to the application feature for shell design. Within shell design, I can come in and add pages. So when we think of Blackbaud CRM, I've got my different functional areas. There's multiple places where pages are seen. So I'm creating a new page that can be put in other places, whether it's a tab or a full page within Blackbaud CRM. When I'm adding the page, and this is an area where each time I kind of go behind the scenes, I need to remind myself. And it was a good exercise yesterday and a good reminder that's been a theme for the past few weeks since I presented at a conference is sometimes we overthink documentation or training, and I love it that people are answering other people's questions. This is great. So sometimes when we're going through this process and setting it up, it can get a little overwhelming, but all I did was I took screenshots while I was creating this. And then I went back, I adjusted, I had to go back and edit some of the screenshots. But it's an easy way, or you can screen share while you're creating it to help teach another colleague how to actually do this within the system. And there are some questions, there's data lists, yes, there are more technical ways to do this. The thought is organizationally, a lot of times the developers or people that might know how to do things related to list builders or SQL, like their list might be really, really long. Not that a low code person's isn't really, really long as well, but this is a quick, easy way within the system for anyone. And you don't have to have a technical background to be able to, again, organizationally you decide for governance and who can create pages and who can create lists. But it's a nice help for a lot of end users with not a lot of technical debt and not a lot of need to actually code or create this. It's truly almost a configuration, even though it's page designer within the system. So with that, the caption, so what I'm selecting is I'm saying how this list is going to be named. So that's quick and easy. You can kind of follow through. Again, I'll send this along if you're looking for the exact steps. And again, I just followed what my colleague had done, looked at how she had set it up, and was able to just take that and change and adjust it, in this case, from employer to committee. Within the actual page, we're adding, in this case, it's a tab, but it's displaying because it's only one. You can always add multiple tabs. So I might have committees, and then I might have another list of committee members. Might be an easy way that I could do that. Or I could hyperlink from one actual list to the members. But we'll keep it simple here. So one page, I'm adding a tab. The tab is, in this case, the committees. And then I'm pulling in my section on the tab. So my section on the tab is going to pull in, I'm adding the sections, And then I'm picking that data list. And this is a cheat. This is something I cannot remember the names. I maybe spelt committee right the whole time, I think. If not, I can go back in and fix it. But whenever I'm creating data lists, I prefix them with data list. It might seem redundant to some people, but for me, when I'm searching later on, like, oh, to find my data list, I just type in data list, and then it gives me the whole list of data lists that I've created. So we can see my data list for committees, and we can say that that data list was created from an ad hoc query. When I save, my page has been created. So I have now created a page that was based off of a query that became a data list that I can now show to other people rather than having them log into query. And again, this is a quick, easy way for someone with low code experience or minimal coding experience, a citizen developer, to be able to do this within the system. The next question I'm thinking through is, where do I want this page to display? So I want this page to show on the constituent functional area, and I want it to be under committees. So the next step is to go back into shell design to add a task, and I can create a task to then show that page within the functional area. There's some key things to consider here. So here's where committee looks, and I want to add committee list here. If I wanted to change or add an image, I could pull from the catalog through the ellipses. The key thing here, you do have to spell committee properly. So for the task group, this is asking me on the constituent functional area, and then on the committee group, so of that page, I want it to show under committee. And then this sequence, you're just picking, I knew I wanted it to be last, so I just picked a high number where I knew committee search and add a committee were not at that level with 430. And then the page that we're accessing, you can change that. I'm accessing the committee list to show and be exposed on that page. So hooray, I opened this up and it worked. So within CRM, I then had a committees list. But at this point, it was kind of great. It's pretty much just a query and you can't interact with it. So once you've created your data lists, the next thing that you want to do is add actions. And there's a couple of varieties of actions, and I'll show two examples here. So the first is to add a hyperlink. So I want people that look at this list to be able to open up to the committee record. So to do that, we can add a hyperlink, and it's an action. So I'm writing the underlying code to this. It's go to the committee record. No one will see that. It becomes a hyperlink because I have a link field ID. So I use name. That was really important. That came into play when we were naming in our query that became a data list. I used name. I spelled it correctly. So it worked. And it is then turning that action into a hyperlink. Another key part to this is what page do you want it to actually open up to? So in this case, I have it opening, it's a little hard to see, but I have it open to the members tab. You can choose, and again, thinking about clicks and how people are interacting with the system, you can choose what specific tab within a page that you'd like the record to open up to. And then this is just my final answer for the go to the committee hyperlink. This is everything that I selected, so you have a screenshot to borrow if you're looking to create one of these on your own. So yay, we have a hyperlink. Great, our query data list, and we can click and it will open me up to each of those constituent. It will open me up to be specific. It will open me up to the committee record on the members tab. But I'm looking at this and back to like my original use case, the description is missing. And I'm going to assign this out, but not just one time where someone needs to clean up this query. I want to make sure that the descriptions are active and we can actually pull that in, be able to export out this list easily. So I am going to add another action. So to do that, I'm back in Page Designer and I'm adding an additional action. So I'm going in and I'm adding an edit description. So that caption are the words that are going to be seen on that task. So I can edit the description. It's going to pull up the committee edit form to allow the end users, to edit the description right away. It's right there for them. It's going to be the first thing that pops up and they're able to access it. So again, workflow, this is just one easy example. There's a lot of other examples that we have, again, the employer list and other ways that we've seen customers use and leverage query and data lists. I did have a lesson learned in this process. I have my right answers and the final answer if you're looking to pull that committee picture. But when I first added the action to edit the description, I got all this. I'm like that. Well, that's not helpful. No one wants to see that information. And what I did is I was just guessing and I was like, oh, committee page expression form sounds good. So one of the things that you can do beforehand is I could have looked up and reviewed what the different committee. So I could have looked at to see if a page exists, if there were committee forums. So this is where those features, you can kind of see if you have something already like this within the system. But this was just one of my lessons learned. I was doing it quickly, again, trying to get an easy way to help end users be able to change, edit information. But that was just a quick lesson learned. But I was able to easily reconcile it by changing what data form was appearing. And found I just kind of sat there in the process and updated. And with the committee profile view form, that would open me up. It actually provides the image that's included here on our foundation board of directors. And then the summary view would be another option. So that data form that's showing underneath, you are selecting and picking of what end users are going to see when they use the down arrow to be able to access those actions. So I had my screen open. Good thing I actually did take the screenshots and everything because I can't actually share my screen today. But I'm happy to, if there's additional questions or time where people are like, Becky, I'm so close. I get what you're saying, but I just need you to look at something. Happy to do that. But one of the things that you can also do is edit tasks. So this is something, again, if I wanted to change that instead of that green arrow, there was an image, you can always go back, change, update, edit. This is a completely case of progress, not perfection. Again, use case, I'm trying to get something out quickly, end users can interact with it, clean up data. It's not just a one-time query, it's something that they can see. And this might be something for our committees list. When I was at Children's Colorado and now I'm like, hey, I could maybe help you fix this. I just kept adding queries with the name of the members. But now this is an easier way of instead of having to maintain all those separate queries that anyone can interact, export these out and have a central way to access the committees. In this case, it's the committees, and then we'll work through a next example is to actually add the members. With that, I'm just going to go through, if you're looking for more and originally read my session description, but we're looking for more on integrations or Sky APIs, Glenn Hudson just delivered a fantastic session. I think most of you are potentially in it. He had 400 plus attendees, and that's something that can be used and leveraged with Blackbaud CRM. And then the grant showcase from Georgia Tech using Fabric was phenomenal. If you didn't get a chance to see that, some of the art of the possible of what customers are doing with Blackbaud CRM and Microsoft Fabric. And then just a few other sessions coming up. So Power Automate custom connectors. So being able to automate workflows. So this is one thing. I'm having a user update descriptions, but if I wanted to allow a user to add multiple interactions onto one record, that might be something where Power Automate would come into play. There's also some basics. If you've seen Rebecca speak on Power BI, she's fantastic. She'll give some beginner's guide, some basics there. We've got Canadian Red Cross and the University of Houston both sharing what they're currently doing with Blackbaud CRM. And then on the last day, we have Ask a Developer, unlocking the potential of Blackbaud CRM read-only access. That is something for Blackbaud cloud operations customers, so people that are hosted with Blackbaud. But if you're looking on moving from on-prem, great to see what read-only access is. And then if you're thinking, Becky, this was so basic, I need some more developer things, the two last sessions on Thursday highlight some work again from Manny at Georgia Tech Foundation, highlighting some of the things that he's created. With that, we definitely have time for questions. I just want to highlight, I'm seeing some names. We started a Blackbaud CRM user group. We met last month and we're looking, I think it'll be monthly. There might be some times of year, December, July, where we might not have a monthly meeting. But if you're looking to connect, an opportunity to be live and chat with other customers, this is a great opportunity for the Blackbaud CRM user group. The goal is really that users of Blackbaud CRM are bringing things forward for you all to talk about. And I'm trying to stay out of the way as much as I can. But with that, Scott, if you want to come back on stage, if there's any questions or anything that we want to go through, I'll add in the link for how to add yourself to the user group.
Hey, Becky, I think there was just one question from Jessica we didn't answer. Is there a way to make a hyperlink open to a new window or tab?
Yes. But I'd have to teach myself how to do it, and I don't have the screen to show it, but I can include that in the follow-up instructions. There might be someone who's like, yes, here's how to do it, but I know it's an option that you can. Oh, Rick says it requires JavaScript. Wah, wah, wah. That's where it comes to like, there's like the low code and some options. I'll look to see if there's any other ways to do it. And I know people were talking about list builder, and those are fantastic and great. Like it allows more. It allows filters right there without having to create it in query. The goal here is that for more citizen developers or people who might be coming from Razor's Edge, who don't have a lot of the technical skills needed to work with JavaScript, this is an easy way for them to work with the system and configure it.
That was the only unanswered question, Becky.
All right. Well, thank you all for participating. We will send this along. Again, you have my email address, and I am still trying to get the link for the user group, but I will add it quickly. I added it, but not with a hyperlink, so I'll get that to the group.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I just launched the survey. Please take your time to fill out the survey and let us know your feedback. Have a good BB Dev Days.